The fall of the Syrian president Bashar Al Assad has raised an important question. After half a century of Assad's rule, who represents the Syrian people now? One group asserting a significant claim to that role is Hayat Tahrir Al-Sham, led by Abu Mohammad Al-Golani, which played a pivotal role in the opposition offensive that brought the fall of the Assad regime. We tell you what has changed for the war-torn nation.
The fall of Bashar Al Assad, which nobody thought possible till just days ago, became a reality on December 8th. After 13 years of civil war fracturing Syria, triggering a horrific economic and humanitarian crisis, 50 years of the Assad regime came to an end when Syrian rebels seized the capital. The speed of the advance took the regime by surprise, prompting Assad and his family to flee to Russia, a country that has been the deposed leader's long-standing ally. On the streets of Damascus, it was a celebration like never before.
God willing, we will see a new era, a good one, from better to better, with this new situation. We hope for the factions inside Damascus to control the situation better than it was before, for the situation to work normally and return to how we used to be, and even better, God willing. This is what we hope for.
Cheering crowds gathered at the historic Umayyad Mosque, greeting the rebel commander Abu Mohammad Al-Golani. Speaking inside the mosque, Golani described the victory as a turning point for the region.
This victory, my brothers, is a new chapter in the history of the entire Islamic nation. It is a turning point for the region. How many dangers have we avoided? Assad handed Syria over to Iranian ambitions, spreading sectarianism and corruption throughout the country.
Golani accelerated his years-long efforts. Golani gave interviews to Western media saying that he plans to form a government defined by institutions and a council chosen by the people. As the commander of Al-Qaeda's franchise in the Syrian civil war, Golani was a shadowy figure who kept out of public eye, even when his group became the most powerful faction fighting Assad. Today he is the most recognizable of Syria's triumphant leaders, having gradually stepped into the limelight since severing ties to Al-Qaeda in 2016, rebranding his group and emerging as the de facto ruler of rebel-held northwestern Syria. Syria's rebel coalition, the Military Operations Command, is a mix of Islamist and moderate factions united against the Assad regime, ISIS and Iran-backed militias. The umbrella group includes Hayat Tahrir Al-Sham or HTS, Turkey-backed Syrian National Army and the Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces. The coalition is led by HTS leader Abu Mohammad Al-Golani, whose own group has a complicated history. Once aligned with Al-Qaeda and mentored by Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, Al-Golani split from the terror body to form a Syria-focused anti-regime front. The group was initially called Jabhat Fateh al-Sham and later renamed Hayat Tahrir Al-Sham. HTS has been the de facto ruler of Idlib, the northwestern Syrian city from which the recent offensive was launched. A transitional government has taken over the reins in Syria. Global leaders grapple with the long and short-term implications of the change in power dynamics. For Bashar al-Assad, half a century-old regime headed by his family has become history. Bashar al-Assad, the second-generation leader of Syria's autocratic dynasty, took power after his father, Hafiz al-Assad, died in 2000. A former ophthalmologist trained in London, Assad was elected unopposed and continued his father's harsh rule, suppressing dissent. Throughout the 13-year civil war, his regime faced accusations of severe human rights violations, including using starvation, enforced disappearances, and bombing civilian targets like schools and hospitals. One of his worst atrocities was the 2013 Syrian gas attack in Ghouta, which killed over 1,400 people. Assad's detention facilities became notorious for torture, with Amnesty International reporting that up to 13,000 prisoners were hanged at Saidnaya prison between 2011 and 2015. The West once hailed Assad as the Lion of Damascus. He was widely celebrated, with France awarding him its highest honor, the Legion of Honor. Queen Elizabeth invited him and his wife while US Speaker Nancy Pelosi visited Syria. European and Arab leaders met with him frequently, and even the Pope made a visit to the country. At one point, Assad enjoyed significant diplomatic recognition and attention from the international community. Syrians also adored Assad. In 2010, the New York Times ranked Damascus 7th on its list of the 31 best places to visit in the world. That same year, Vogue praised First Lady Asma Assad in an article titled A Rose in the Desert, highlighting her work in education, charity and healthcare. Born and raised in the UK, Asma met her husband, an ophthalmologist, there. Under Assad, Syria was seen as peaceful, safe and prosperous. By 2011, the regime passed down by Hafiz al-Assad to his son Bashar had become corrupt and decadent. Bashar, once a vocal supporter of Palestinians and Hezbollah, had promised reforms since taking power. Many Syrians hoped for change, but by 2011, those hopes were dashed when he ordered his forces to shoot peaceful demonstrators, revealing his true intentions and following his father's repressive playbook. Despite early celebrations, the change in power is shrouded by uncertainty. The new leadership has now said that Syria's constitution and parliament would be suspended during the 3-month transition period. The future of the old guard, including Assad's loyalists, is uncertain. Syria's minority groups are concerned about the new regime's inclusiveness. While the G7 countries and Israel have already extended support to the new leadership, old allies Russia and Iran are watching Syria closely with bated breath.
For latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.